Hi, so comping, blues comping in A, so that's blues rhythm playing, and we're thinking of a 12 bar and we're thinking of the 1 chord, and we had this. Now that is an A7 chord at the 5th fret in the E7 shape, but instead of doing the bar, we're just barring the D, G and B strings and then hammering on the G string 5th to 6th fret. So I'm doing the open A string, or I could bring my thumb over and do the 5th fret of the low E string. And then this bit is I'm doing a bar on the 7th fret of the D, G and B strings. Then I've got this line. This is from Your Guitar Academy. This is a riff from them. So head over to them if you want to. Sign up and you get all sorts of stuff. There's lots of material. Now that is a single note line in a major pentatonic. Yeah, the major pentatonic in the key of A. And the line is 5th fret E string, 7th fret E string, immediately sliding up to 9th fret. Then you go to 7th fret A string and 9th fret A string. So, and then you're back to the first thing we did. And then we're going to do this A7 chord. It's still an A7 chord, but it's in the D7 shape. So that would be on the top 4 strings, 7, 9, 8, 9, or you could just do the top 3 strings, which is the D7 shape. Take it from there, take it up to the 8th or 9th fret, so you got 9, 8, 9. And so I'm just using those 3 different sections, yeah, and you can use them in any order you want. So that's for the 1 chord. Now for the 4 chord, what were we doing there? We were going to a dominant 9 type chord. So this is the 5th fret, and it's 5th fret of the A string, which is the root note, the D, 4 chord. 4th fret of the D string, and then your 3rd finger is barring the top 3 strings, G, B and top E string, on fret 5. If you can't get that, you could just get the top 4, but try and get all 5. So we've gone from for the first thing that you do to the chord, the first way you play it, you could either just hit the bass note, the root note, or you just give the whole thing a strum. And let's take down the tempo actually. So for a very typical thing, you're just dividing up the chord into bass strings and treble strings. So I'm not hitting just one string with my strum, but just a couple of strings, maybe 2 or 3. And I'm dividing up the chord bass, treble, yeah. And then I'm going to do the slide. Now the slide, it might look like I'm sliding the whole chord, but I'm not. Fingers 1 and 2, releasing the pressure, still touching the strings so that I'm muting them, but it's the 3rd finger, the bar, that's doing the slide. So I strum the bar, and as soon as I strum it, I'm sliding up to the 7th fret, and then I'm coming back down, and I'm not sliding back down, I'm just coming back down and strumming the strings again. So yeah, and then back to our 1 chord. Now if on that 4 chord, because you're on it for, 2 bars, so 1 and 2, whoops, sorry, 3, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't want to repeat that for the 2nd bar, you could go about that, for example, and that is now I can use the third finger. I can use the tip of the third finger, which is touching the G string. I can slide it up to, or just move it up to the 9th fret of the G string, and then catch the 8th fret of the top E string, which gives us, basically, it's another voicing of a D9 chord, because that's a flat 7 and that's the 9. Then I'm going to take that, so I've got 9, 8, 7, 7 on the G and the top E strings, and then 5, 5. So 9, 8, 7, 7, 5, 5. And on the last one, I could do the full bar. I could do the full bar here as well. Yeah, so on frets 7 and 5, you can either do the full bar or just the G and top E strings. And then you're back to the 1 chord. Now for the 5 chord, you can do exactly the same thing as you did for the 4 chord, but just 2 frets up. So there's your 9 shape, your dominant 9 shape. 7, 6, 7, 7, 7. And I'm doing that slide of the top 3 strings. And because they're 2 dominant chords, I can go from the 5 chord to the 4 chord chromatically with the same chord shape, get back to the 4 chord, then you've only got 1 bar on that this time, so just going to do that. Then you're back to the 1 chord, and then when you go to the 5 chord this time, if you want, you could do an altered dominant in the turnaround. And I'm doing a E7 sharp 9, the Hendrix chord. So that's 0, 7, 6, 7, 8 on the B string. Top E string you don't play, it's muted. So now we could also introduce the piece. We had this chord for we had this voicing of the A7 as part of the riff for the 1 chord, and I can take those top 3 strings, that is the D7 shape. Now I could just strum them, or I could arpeggiate them, and you see I've got that D7 shape, 9, 8, 9, take it down a fret, take it down a fret, so 7, 6, 7, and then you go to the original A7 shape. Yeah. So, whoops. Or and then that little climb up is on the A string, 5th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. And then you could either do an E7 chord here in the A7 shape, or go down to the open chord E7, and then you're into your riff for the 1 chord. And then in the turnaround, let's see, so we've got the for your turnaround, you could have the, so after the 4 chord, there, you could have it there. So that intro you can also have as a turnaround. So here's your, let's do it again, 5 chord to 4 chord to 1 chord with a turnaround. Okay, hope that helps.